border. So I play basketball and softball. So I've grown up. Going to Florida was like the first time like I left home, but it's nice, I guess.
And then Xavier, where do you go to school?
So I also go to Southeastern University. I've been going there since my freshman year, and I'm from Palm Bay.
Okay.
Originally Jacksonville, Florida. So I know not a lot of people know where Palm Bay, Florida is. You can say Jacksonville just for.
Okay, awesome. So you guys are both in the area. Okay, perfect. Okay, so basically the thing we're doing today is I just got it going on Facebook and everything. So we just like to hear people's stories, what they do and stuff like that. So why don't you first of all talk a little bit about I'll let you guys take turns and stuff, but how you guys got involved with who we play for.
Okay, sure. So I'll go first on that one. So a little bit about my involvement. It started in 2017, my freshman year, coming from high school over here in Palm Bay. I was an athlete for Southeastern University. I was intending to play football for the university, and we had to go on campus a little bit early for like physical workouts, things like that, a little bit earlier than all of the rest of the students. So I did that, and I proceeded with that process, and we had these people come in who we play for, and I've never heard of them before. I was like, okay. And they said they're going to do electrocardiogram screenings. And I've never received an electrocardiogram screen personally. And I've been playing sports my whole life, thus up to that point. So it's kind of crazy to me to think I haven't ever received that. And I've been doing this my whole life, basically. So I go through it just like any other athlete would. It's like, oh, it's just another test to see whatever. So I do it, not thinking about anything. And like 2 days later, I got a call back from my head athletic trainer saying that I need to come see him and see what's happening. And that's when he explained to me that there was something that was flagged within the EKG and I needed to follow up with the cardiologist. So essentially I did what I do all the time, and I call my mom about it. And she starts freaking out. She's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Where do we have to go? So immediately we followed up with a cardiologist in Lakeland. And he just kind of explained to me what I had. And he explained that it was Wolff-Parkinson White. And he said it was fairly rare for that occurrence to happen. And he kind of explained to me what the implementations of that from that point would have to be, and he explained surgery. And when I first found out, I mean, I was very reluctant to think it was real. For some reason, I thought it couldn't happen to me because I've been doing this my whole life. Yeah, and I mean, up through that point, I went through. I mean, I don't know if you want the whole story.
No, yeah, keep going. I mean, this is incredible.
But yeah, I essentially had to go 3 cardiac ablations to be able to correct my pathway, being that it was behind my heart next to a main artery. And the first attempt was unsuccessful at Lakeland Regional, and I had to get referred to Shands at University of Florida to be able to correct that with Dr. Miles. So I was persistent with it. I was a total of 3 times surgeries. I was going to give up and just stick to the medication for the rest of my life. But then I thought about the implications of that long term, not being able to do things quite the same, in case of that moment, if the event were to happen. You know what I mean? I wanted to try to prevent that from ever happening. So I just stuck it out, and the 3rd time was a charm. It worked. I had a completely normal sinus rhythm after I woke up near Thanksgiving of 2017 was the time that my pathway was finally corrected. And I haven't looked back ever since. I haven't ever went back to playing football necessarily, just because that's not really where my heart is anymore, because I felt like I was taken off of it for a reason. I felt like I could make a bigger impact in people's lives off the field than on. So I'm sticking to my biomedical science journey, and I know that's there. And looking forward to going to medical school here soon. So
okay, so you're gonna do medical school. Okay, I have so many questions for you, but I'll let Maddie.
Of course, the floor is yours, Maddie.
Maddie, go ahead and tell me a little about how you got involved with who you play for, and then I have so many questions for you already.
So a similar story to Xavier. I transferred in as a junior to Southeastern last year originally just to compete in basketball. And so we had done about 2 or 3 weeks of training. I played 2 sports at the JUCO level, 2 sports in high school. So I was always healthy. I never had like symptoms. I never was like, oh yeah, this could happen to me. So when I went to Southeastern, we had the training, or we had the screening, and actually Xavier's mom, small world, did it on me.
No way, that is so cool.
So the next day, our trainer had called me in with my coach, and just said I had the exact same thing Xavier had, Wolff Parkinson White. So it was just an extra electrical pathway, which didn't go to like the AV node of my heart. And so from there, my trainer was like, it could be a hiccup. And I was like, of course it's a hiccup. Like,
yeah,
it's wrong. I don't have anything wrong with me. So we had to go see a cardiologist, and he did indicate that I did have Wolff Parkinson White. And so from there, I just had to see electrophysiologist just to determine if it was a low risk or a high risk for cardiac arrest, just because I wanted to continue to pursue basketball, and for my safety, they wouldn't allow me to if I didn't have the surgery, if I was high risk. And so my stress test determined that I was high risk. So from there, we just had to continue with the plan to just have the ablation. So in October of last year, I had one surgery and it was ablated. 6 weeks later, he's like, all right, you're cleared and you can go compete. And so from there, I haven't had any issues, and I've been able to live a life normally.
And that was going to be my follow-up question for both of you guys. So it's very rare we actually get to talk to people who are, it's not very rare, but it's interesting to hear, I guess, from people who actually have heart defects and things like that. So with Xavier, I'll have you go first, but what changes, I guess, have you made? And you kind of touched on it, Xavier. You just stopped playing football.
Yeah.
So you just stopped. What changes have you had to make in your lifestyle since you became aware of what's going on?
Yeah. So essentially, yeah. So I was just like Maddie too. I was completely asymptomatic. So I could have went my whole life without ever knowing. And just one day I could have just dropped dead. So that being, it was like, am I a ticking time bomb? Am I, what do I have to do differently? So it put into perspective on how I was doing it, because my whole life I've always been doing active stuff, the gym, marathons, things like that. Yeah. So that fact of it has never changed. I mean, I continue to do that. I did it before the ablation and I do it after. Just as far as the football, I feel like that moment was ordained for a reason, and I was not supposed to be on the field at that time. God forbid something happened to me. So my life has been completely normal since then. I could go back, but like I said, it's not where I'm supposed to be.
Do you ever miss it? Do you ever miss playing?
Oh, of course. I see all the people out there and I'm like, I never really got a chance to play at all. I never even put on a game jersey. So it's
oh wow.
Yeah, so I spent like 2 months of practice without ever getting the opportunity to show them what I was capable of doing. But I'm still thankful that they gave me the opportunity to be out there, because if I weren't to go to Southeastern, who knows if I'd be able to be doing this interview with you guys today. So, and for that, I can only be thankful to Southeastern and who we play for. So I need to be indebted to them. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I would get it. I mean, if you work so hard like during high school and stuff, obviously you miss it, but ultimately, I think being alive
I think that
probably outweighs playing football.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely supportive of the team in any aspect that I can. I try to be out there being the workload and everything like that. So.
That's awesome. That's really cool. What about you, Maddie? I mean, has anything changed with your lifestyle?
Not a whole lot. I mean, like in the moment, obviously, like there was things I wasn't supposed to do or allowed to do. But since my clearance, I've just continued living the way that I was. I mean, obviously before I was asymptomatic, so I didn't make any changes then. But I think it's brought a new perspective, not necessarily like my physicality, things like that haven't changed, but just the perspective on life and just the awareness of like heart screenings and the difference that people can make. And like, obviously I'd never had an EKG before. Xavier, I don't think had an EKG before either. And so like, just that perspective and like, it's changed who I am as a person. And I believe that God brought me to Southeastern. I actually wrote a research paper in the fall just about the awareness of it. And there was like a stat between like 2001 and 2013 at the Division I level at NCAA, like 73 kids passed away because they had undiagnosed heart conditions. And so like just like reading that, and like obviously I wasn't aware of the importance of it. And so I think just having this happen to me, and now networking with people who it's an issue that's a lot bigger than I initially would have thought. And so it's just changed my life and kind of what I want to be a coach, but obviously I can work my way through that to help bring awareness to an issue that's a lot larger than some people may realize.
Absolutely. And that was going to be my next question, actually, for both of you. You know, obviously with who we play for, it all started with race, and it all started with, you know, someone who died from sudden cardiac arrest because they didn't know they had an underlying heart condition. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure people do know, and we're making these changes. And just how you were saying, you know, you just did this whole research paper about how there's this whole issue. So it was kind of like, I wanted to ask you guys, I mean, how have you guys gone about, if at all, I guess, you know, trying to spread the word or make a change, and based just on your own personal experience?
Yeah, so I can speak a little bit on that. So ever since I've been connected to Who We Play For, I've been a part of the Parent Heart Watch conference, and speaking in that, and just connecting with the people there, because that conference is filled with people that are in similar situations or worse than I was.
Right.
So I attend that every year, and that's something I expect to do for the rest of my life. I don't know how I couldn't. So I do that, and I've gotten the opportunity to speak at NAIA conferences for the division that my school is, to be able to implement EKG screenings across the board for all of the NAIA schools in the country. So those opportunities were only awarded because of my close connection to Who We Play For. And just for prolonging the legacy and kind of making sure that Southeastern always knows that, hey, I was the first kid found at Southeastern University, and I'm thankful that you guys allowed this on your campus. Madi is another asset to that point. And I plan on starting a Who We Play For in Southeastern chapter actually here in the fall. So that's something that's going to live on that campus forever, and something that is in the works now, and I'm trying to detail all of the little intricate things that happen with that. So for that, that's something I would want to be able to leave, being that it's my senior year coming up. So.
Yeah, that is really cool. Well, yeah. I'm sure, you know, we're really excited about that, about what you do in the whole college chapter and stuff. I was part of the FSU one, so it's a lot of work, but it definitely pays off, and it's awesome. I'm really, I'm proud of you. That's cool. So, all right, Madi. So what about you? I mean, you were kind of talking about this research paper. What else have you done, I guess, since, you know, having, I guess, diagnosed or knowing about this, have you done to kind of spread the word a little bit?
Well, for me, it's still kind of fresh. I mean, it just happened last year. So obviously I've done the research paper just to educate myself too, just because I wasn't necessarily aware, or like, why aren't people doing it? Like, it seems like this simple thing, and I went 20 years without ever having one. And so just looking up, like, is it cost? Is it like availability to like special doctors? Like, what was it? And especially just being from Illinois, obviously I know Who We Play For wants to kind of further their impact. So just trying to connect and see what I could do in Illinois, just because I do plan on coming back here once I am graduated. So just bringing awareness here. I have a good following here, and I just want to make an impact in Illinois, as people have done in Florida. And then just learning, I was going to learn how to conduct the screenings myself, but there's just some conflicts with sports and being like in my season. But definitely now it's my senior year, just to get more like affiliated with them and just learn how I can make a difference, whether I'm in Illinois or I'm able to be in Florida with them.
That's awesome. You guys are both really incredible people. Awesome. So, okay, that was great. So our last question, really that we like to ask everybody that we bring on to this is obviously for who we play for. The name is who we play for, and we all have a rhyme or reason behind what we're doing. So we want to ask you guys, who do you play for?
I'll go first.
So you might have to go first.
The first, I was like, because a lot of things for basketball, it's like, what's your why? Like, why is it that you do what you do? And so if you would ask me a year ago, it's always been like just the kids who look up to me, just because like when you're in high school and they're in elementary school, they're like, wow. And then you go to college and they're like, even more like, oh my gosh, like this person is my idol. So then it was always them. But obviously it's been brought to my attention that there are kids who maybe don't ever get the opportunity to look up to other people and have that wow moment and be like, this is what I want to do. And it's taken away from them. So now it's definitely for those kids who can look up to me and who do want to follow my footprints, but it's also for those kids who were never given out that opportunity and their lives were cut short because of cardiac arrest. And so it's just for them, just because I want to make a difference, whether they're here or they're not here, I want a legacy to be left.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's a great answer. All right.
Yeah,
so you're trying to
I was about to
top
say,
that.
I think she hit it on the head. I mean, I don't know how I can top that one. Wow. Yeah, she basically took the words out of my mouth. You know, I don't know if I can put who I play for as one person. You know, I think similar to Madi, I'm simple as that. I do it for the ones that never had the opportunity. You know, and that's simply it, because I was given the opportunity to make a difference for this not to happen to me. But for the ones that never had the opportunity, that's essentially who I do it for. And the families that are mourning those losses still to this day, whether it be 50 years ago or yesterday. So,
yeah.
And yeah,
That's
leaving
the perfect answer.
Yeah, it really is. It couldn't be more perfect, and she hit it on the head. So.
And isn't when you go to like Parent Heart Watch, I mean, it just, and I've been there, you know, too.
Yeah.
It's just, it opens your mind to just how big this is and how many people have either lost their lives or are dealing with something similar to what you guys are. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's very eye-opening. The first time I went there, I broke down. I was like, that's the first time I broke down in a while too. Like, you just see all these posters of all these people that have been diagnosed, and then you see the ones that they're deceased now. So it's kind of, it hits you reading their stories and then seeing similar people that are deceased that had your same heart abnormality. So it's like, why me? You know, why did God save me and not them? You know, and we know now, me and Madi we know now why. So
yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys know now. And you guys are now figuring it out. But awesome. So that was basically everything we needed to do this morning. This is on Facebook and everything. That's if you guys want to share it, do whatever you guys want. But other than that, I think that's it.
Alrighty.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for doing this morning. Waking up early and doing this.
I know we're not used to that right now.
Your big schedule now that you're doing like virtual learning and stuff. So.
Yeah, right.
I know. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for doing this.
Well,
and
thank you.
that, it was nice to meet you guys. I'm sure we'll meet in person eventually.
I hope so. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for doing this, and have a good day.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
guys, thank you.
All
Bye.
right.
Bye, Molly.
Bye, Xavier.